Manchester City are in court right now, taking on the might of the Premier League. The Premier League say that Manchester City have committed fraud by submitting fake financial documents and saying that Sheikh Mansour put money in through Etihad Airways and various other sources and disguised his equity funding as sponsorships. Now, of course, we all know that if City get found guilty here, that serious punishment will incur on the club, possibly relegation, possible stripping of titles, maybe other stuff even more serious than that. And of course, if Manchester City get found not guilty, then nothing will happen. But could there be a third option? Well, according to Simon Jordan at TalkSport, and even Stefan Borson kind of hints at this. I'll play you the clip in a second. Could Manchester City settle with the Premier League before the conclusion of the 115 case? Have a listen to this, and you have to listen really carefully because they don't expand on this, and it's quite annoying. Hopefully, the next time Stefan Borson goes on to Talk Sport, they'll expand on this, and they don't, which is quite frustrating. But listen to this. You have to listen really carefully because it's over in a split second. Listen.
You'll be coming in to say to us, okay, news from the City hearing.
January, I suspect.
I don't think it'll be January, actually. You know, this is where... Because if you remember...
before or after?
No, it's going to take a long time. Either City are going to settle, with the Premier League.
Which is what I think they'll do.
Right? Which does happen. It becomes increasingly difficult during the hearing.
Yeah.
But if not, it's already taken 3 months for the APT hearing.
Stefan Borson there suggesting that a potential settlement is on the cards for Manchester City, and Simon Jordan, and I know we don't like Simon Jordan, a lot of City fans don't like him, and to be honest, a lot of people don't like him because the way he speaks on TalkSport can be quite frustrating at times. But he has run a football club. He has got that business experience. So he suggested that's what he thinks will happen. Stefan Borson confirming that it's true as well. Here are the facts, and I've heard Stefan Borson speak about this before. If Manchester City and the Premier League enter into an agreement, remember, City can't just enter into an agreement on their own. It takes two to tango, yeah? So if the Premier League and Manchester City agree to a settlement, according to Stefan Borson, I've heard him say this before, that can't just be it. So for all the rival fans thinking, City will just get away with it if they enter into a settlement, according to Stefan, whatever settlement occurs, this has to be ratified by the Independent Commission anyway. So once it goes to the Independent Commission, if the Premier League and Manchester City agree to settle the case, the Independent Commission have to review the settlement and agree that it's fair. So if the Independent Commission believe that City have committed all this fraud and the Premier League just say, we're going to fine them £1 million, the Independent Commission are likely to say no, that settlement is not fair. People say, well, why would the Premier League enter into a settlement? Why? Because when you enter a case like this, you're not sure if you're going to win. You're not sure if you're going to win. You might not win. You might think that you've got the strongest case available. You might think you've got all the evidence, and you might still lose the case. The evidence of this is the Leicester case, that the Premier League felt that they were going to win. The Premier League did win the case in the initial Independent Commission, and then when it went to appeal, they lost the case. So if the Premier League feel that, we've got a decent case, but we're not 100% sure that we're going to win, because nothing's guaranteed when you enter a courtroom, right? Then maybe they'll think, you know what? If City agree to a points deduction, if City agree to a transfer ban, if City agree to a huge fine, then maybe we'll take that because there is a risk that we might not win the case at all. For City, on their side, why would City enter into a settlement? Well, again, there's a risk that City might get kicked out of the league. There's a risk that we won't be playing Premier League football. And then we lose all our players because the players want to leave. There's a risk that we might get our titles stripped off us. So if the Premier League come to us and said, listen, City, there's a risk you might get kicked out of the league here. Accept this 20-point deduction. Accept this 30-point deduction. Accept a transfer ban for a year or two. City have to think about that. City might think, well, we think we're innocent. We think we've got the evidence to prove we're innocent. But nothing is guaranteed in the courtroom. And therefore, City might be interested into a settlement agreement. City might think they're innocent. City might be innocent. But there's nothing guaranteed. Yeah, there's nothing guaranteed when you're in that. You've got to convince the Independent Commission. You know what I mean? With your evidence. And what about if you can't do that? Even if you might be innocent. So, listen, I do think that there is there's a possibility here for a settlement. I think that would City take a settlement depending on what it is? Depending on what it is, I think if the settlement terms that the Premier League put forward are too strong, then City might just be like, well, what's the point? We might as well just fight it. But if the Premier League come, and I'm interested to hear what you guys say in the comments here, if the Premier League came to City and said 30-point deduction for 1 season and 1 year transfer ban, and it all goes away, and a £30 million fine, and it all goes away, we'll never come for you again. I think City might consider that. They might consider that. They might. 1 year of not winning the Premier League, you know what I mean? You're probably still going to get Champions League football, let's be honest. You might not, depending on how good your season is, but there's still a chance that you're going to get Champions League football. 1 year transfer ban, and then everything's gone forever. I mean, you've got to think about this sort of stuff. And this is why, obviously, when you run a business, it can be tricky because you've got to think about these decisions that you've got to make. Again, for the Premier League. You know what I mean? If City come to the Premier League and say, right, listen, you know, we don't know how this case is going for either of us. No one will ever know until the outcome. What about if you give us this? What about if you do this and we'll enter? You know, it's really interesting. I think it's really interesting how it could end up. I think City will want to clear their name, so I'm not 100% sure. Well, unless they're guilty, obviously we don't know. No one truly knows whether they're guilty or innocent. The club say they're innocent. The club say they've got the evidence, but City will want to clear their name. I don't think City will want to enter into an agreement. Yeah, because I think they'll want to clear their name. But what's more important, clearing your name or staying in the Premier League and playing football? You know what I mean? Like it's a difficult one. It is a difficult one. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen. Let me just play that clip again for you guys so you guys can hear it one more time.
I don't think it'll be January, actually. You know, this is where... Because if you remember...
before or after?
No, it's going to take a long time. Either City are going to settle, you know, with the Premier League.
Which is what I think they'll do.
Right?
There you go. Are City going to settle with the Premier League? It's an option on the table. We've not heard any rumours of it. But Simon Jordan reckons it's going to happen. Stefan Borson says it's a possibility. And the whole thing goes away. The question is, City are not going to settle if it's something serious. They're not going to settle if it strips titles. They're not going to settle if it relegates us. And you know, they're only going to settle if it's like a points deduction that keeps them in the league, if it's maybe a 1 year transfer ban. So we'll have to wait and see. Let me know your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Do you think the Premier League are going to settle with City? Do you think City are going to settle with the Premier League? Or do you think this case is going to run the course? Let us know in the comments and I'll catch you in the next one. See you later.